Hello and welcome to another episode of the ZTV Sports Report, your home for all things Akron Zips athletics. I'm your host, Max Aracey, joined once again by Josh Feaster. Josh, bro, are you ready? Are you ready for today?
Man, am I ready? Man, we are talking all four Zip sports. We got football, men's soccer, women's soccer, and volleyball. It ain't too much to be said, man. I'm ready to get into it.
Nothing else to say then. Don't go anywhere because the ZTV Sports Report starts now. All of our teams have recently begun conference play, and we're going to start with the men's soccer team and see how they fared in a matchup against the Northern Illinois Huskies. Following a big 1-0 victory against Duquesne, the Zips men's soccer team would open up conference play with a home matchup against the Northern Illinois Huskies. Let's see how it went. The Zips will gain the lead quickly, with Dyson Claypier scoring in the 7th minute off of this cross from Malik Henry. Can't say the Huskies will be too happy with their defensive effort on this one. Just 7 minutes later, Joel Sangwa will get ahead on this corner kick, and the Zips take a 2-0 lead. Light work to say the least for a team that clearly came ready to play. Shortly after, in the 19th minute, the Zips offense will continue their dominance as Ashton Camden clears up this deflection from a Jason Shukulik shot that hit the post. An utterly commanding start from a Zips team with 3 goals in the first 20 minutes. The action would remain in the Zips offensive third, but Ryan Kingsford will be unable to beat the Huskies keeper to this ball, and the score remains 3-0. But that 4th goal would come sooner rather than later, with Joseph Paulus hitting this cracker of a left foot and slotting the ball into the upper corner. Easy 4-goal lead heading into the half for this Akron squad. The second half is sluggish in comparison to the action-packed first, but the Zips would not be without their chances. Still, despite racking up 8 shots in this half compared to the 9 they had in the first, the Zips will not be able to add to that already sizable lead. In the 89th minute, just before the whistle will be blown on a clean sheet shutout, Ryan Kingsford catches this ball at the wrong angle and sends it into the Zips net for an own goal. Despite the disappointing end to the game, Akron still walks away with a dominating 4-1 victory, racking up 12 more shots than Northern Illinois and twice as many corner kicks. This was Max Aracey with the ZTV Sports Report. Go Zips! You know, that Northern Illinois game was honestly what we should be seeing from them every single game in conference play. The offense was firing on all cylinders. Defense was playing pretty solid as well. You know, granted, they didn't get the clean sheet, but all things considered, that's a performance you've got to be very happy with. Josh, where do you stand on, how this team has been playing outside of that game in specific?
Well, I like how this team's looking. Last episode, I said I liked where they were offensively. I said they need to tighten up on defense, though, because they were scoring 3, 4, 5 goals, but they were also allowing 3 goals a game. So that's unacceptable. And since then, they've definitely improved. They've only been allowing a goal, if anything, but they ain't been getting it done offensively as of recent.
Yeah, they kind of traded out those 3-3 games for 1-0 games.
Yeah.
And, that's pros and its cons, but you would definitely like to see the offense and defense kind of working in tandem with each other a little bit more than they currently are.
Facts.
So following that Northern Illinois game, they unfortunately tied Bowling Green. And I must say that is not something that can happen if you're a team with serious championship aspirations. What was your big takeaway with that, Josh?
Man, when it came to that Bowling Green game, I feel like we beat ourselves for real. It was just foul after foul after foul. We got a red card, ended up playing down a player. We're not going to win games that way.
You're never going to win games that way. We were lucky to still get the tie in Ohio State when we went down a man.
Right.
So that they've definitely got to, it's nice to have that scrappiness, to have that physicality, but at a certain point, it can become kind of detrimental to your team. So, yeah, Joseph Paulus got 2 yellow cards that game, and he got sent off. And, they've got to just really limit that and play a bit, cleaner soccer.
Yeah.
So from there, I want to transition into the women's team a little bit. Can't say we've been seeing what we would hope to from them. 7-game losing streak, I'm pretty sure. And I think that a big part of that is like when you're such a young team, because that's been our big talking point with them,
yeah, for sure.
how young they are. It's going to be really hard to maintain momentum throughout an entire season. Like the grind of the college schedule, especially when you're not used to it, it's really going to wear you down.
For sure. You got to think, like, they got to travel. They're having games every other day. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, like you said, they lost 7 straight. So mentally, it hurts.
You think each loss gets them a little deeper into that hole, and it just makes it that much harder to break out of it.
Yes, they're not playing with confidence, and you don't play with confidence, you're not going to go out and execute.
Yeah. And one game I can discuss, for example, the Kent State one at home, big game, wagon wheel matchup, and they just got outperformed on basically all levels of the ball. One thing especially that stood out to me was just like the men's team, they're committing way too many fouls.
Real scrappy.
Real scrappy. And like we said, it's got its pros, but once you're getting carded, because they got a red card in that Kent State game too, man, and you cannot expect to walk away with wins when you're playing with 10 men. So hopefully, we can see them pick it up a little bit more as the season closes out, and hopefully they can walk away with some conference wins. So with that, we're going to take it into our first commercial break. But when we come back, we'll be discussing the volleyball team. Stay tuned.
You're watching ZTV.
Akron After Hours this season, we're doing things a little differently.
You're watching ZTV.
Welcome back. Just like our other teams, the volleyball squad is getting into conference play. So let's take it over to Zach and see how they fared in the first of 2 games against Western Michigan.
What's going on, everybody? Zach Leiniger here again, and today we're going to take a look at the Zips volleyball team and see how they're doing. Before we get into the Zips' recent home game, it's important to remember that the Zips just came off a previous home loss to Buffalo, in which they were swept 3-0. The loss definitely stung for the Zips, as they had already lost the previous 4 games prior, which was very demoralizing for a team who desperately needed a win. Speaking of the Zips' recent home game, the team went to battle against Western Michigan, looking to rebound from their losing streak and come away with the victory. Fortunately, the Zips were able to put up a tough fight and come away with a win, beating the Broncos 3-2. Throughout the game, there were a lot of noteworthy contributions. Taking a look back, we had junior Faith Johnson, who led the way with 19 kills, while freshmen Bailey Vogt and Avery Brown each provided 2 aces. In addition, junior Jada Young contributed defensively with 9 blocks, while senior Tegan Ochaya played both sides of the ball well with 18 kills to go along with 6 blocks. Rounding out the Zips performance was Avery Brown again, who provided 26 assists, and senior Lauren Lotka, who contributed 37 digs. This win was huge for the Zips, who were finally able to put an end to a rough skid and provide themselves with some much needed confidence. The Zips needed some solid performances from their biggest stars, and that's exactly what they got. Looking ahead, the Zips are currently in the midst of a long run of conference opponents. The Zips look to study these familiar foes and put themselves in a position to secure some crucial wins. If the Zips can duplicate the performance from this last home game, then they could string together a win streak and build up the necessary momentum that they will need to carry them to a potential conference championship title in the future. As always, I'm Zach Leiniger with the ZTV Sports Report. Go Zips!
Thank you, Zach. That's got to be the most complete performance that this team has had all season long, especially coming off 3 straight games where they got swept in each one. They didn't win a set. To bounce back like that against a really solid Broncos team and, come out with the win, that's just huge.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it felt good seeing this Zips team play like this, because now we know exactly what this volleyball team is capable of. Mm-hmm. Only thing is, they need to, get better with keeping that going, into the next games, because, we beat Western Michigan, but they came back up next night, and they gave it to us for real. They gave us...
Yeah, you were hoping that win could be the spark that would keep them rolling. Unfortunately, they've had 2 more games since then, that haven't been the best. And, it's kind of frustrating. As good as that one win was, it's frustrating because that shows you how good they could be playing.
Yeah.
That shows just what they're capable of, but they just haven't been consistent with those types of performances. And that's where I'm kind of lost, I'll be honest. I don't know enough about volleyball to really get down to the root causes of why this team hasn't been playing as good as they could be. I don't know if it's chemistry, I don't know if it's coaching schemes, but it's kind of a head scratcher, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out too, if I'm being honest. At first I thought it was a chemistry thing, but you see how close the girls are. It's they sisters for real, so I don't know if that's it. I don't know if maybe it's lack of leadership, maybe somebody needs to step up. But I don't know. I just know something needs to happen to where it's consistent that everybody on this team is performing how they should be.
Yeah, and there's really nothing else we can do but just hope for the best, because we've just spent time talking about, we don't know enough about volleyball to really get down to it, but we know what this team is capable of. So hopefully they have some more performances on the level of that Western Michigan game and pick up some more wins.
For sure.
So we're going to transition now into football and take it over to Josh, who will cover their most recent games.
What's good, y'all? It's Josh, and I'm so hyped right now. It's football season, my favorite season, and we got some Zips action. In week 4, the Zips traveled to Virginia to take on Liberty. Let's see how it went. Liberty would kick things off offensively as they'd take advantage of some blown coverage, and Jonathan Bennett would find Caleb Coleman for a 22-yard touchdown pass. That was all the scoring in the first quarter, but fast forward to the beginning of the second, Jonathan Bennett finds Trayon Sibley wide open. Sibley cuts it out for a 30-yard touchdown, putting Liberty up 14-0. But this Akron team got some fight in them. Look at Shockey, Beantop on the sideline, got a foot in. That put the Zips in field goal range. And sure enough, on 4th down, Noah Perez knocks it down. 14-3, Liberty. Fast forward to the third quarter, Akron drove down to the red zone. I thought they was going to score, but Liberty came up with a huge stop on 3rd down and held them to a field goal. 14-6, Liberty. At the beginning of the 4th, DJ Irons found Alex Adams in the end zone, making it a 2-point game with 14 minutes of football left to be played. Unfortunately for the Zips, Liberty wasn't going for none of that. Day Hunter punches it in, icing this game, and Liberty would take this one 21-12. It was a tough loss, dropping the Zips down to 1-3, but you got to keep moving forward, and that's what this Zips team did. The following week, the Zips would take on Bowling Green in their MAC opener and homecoming game, so it was a big one. Hey, and look, y'all, coming into this game, I was so hyped. Just think about it, right? It's homecoming week, so this game's been getting hyped up all week. Both teams 1-3, so pretty evenly matched. And then on top of that, this is the most packed I've ever seen Akron Stadium. Anyway, let's get right into the game. After giving up a field goal, Akron's offense got off to a shaky start as Jalen Burton got a 29-yard pick six, putting Bowling Green up 10-0. It's cool because Akron answered back quick with Clyde Price's touchdown, making it a 10-7 game. Hey, and then fast forward a little bit to the second quarter, Andrew Bench found Matt McDonald in the end zone, putting Bowling Green up 17-7. Hey, and I told y'all earlier this game was going to be a dogfight. A whole lot of back and forth as DJ Irons finds Clyde Price in the end zone, making it a 17-14 game. The problem for the Zips team, Their defense has no answer for this Bowling Green offense because the next drive, Christian Sims scored off a 3-yard pass from Matt McDonald. Akron did answer back, but you see how this game is going. In the fourth quarter, Hilaire found Matt McDonald to make it 21-31 Bowling Green. Alright y'all, now peep. This right here is my favorite moment of this game. DJ Irons tries to run and he gets lit up. I ain't gonna lie, he got popped. But this is how you answer back. Literally the next play, he hits Alex Adams, connects for a 41-yard touchdown pass. That's how you get it back, DJ. Despite the fight from Akron, it wasn't enough. Bowling Green ended up taking this one 28-31. This is Josh with your coverage. Peace.
Thank you, Josh, for that, as always. Obviously they didn't walk away with the win in either of these two games, but on the whole, I think those are some performances that you can be pretty happy with, especially considering how much this Zips team struggled at the beginning of the season. That Liberty team, that's 4-1, really solid program, and the Zips gave them a decent effort. So what are your big takeaways from these last two games so far, Josh?
First things first, I think we definitely been improving running the ball. Like, last episode I mentioned, we've been passing the ball pretty decent, but our rush offense wasn't really there. Over the last couple games, we've seen Cam Wiley get the ball a lot more, and he's been doing pretty decent with the rock in his hands. But defensively, we ain't really been getting it done. Liberty, they just kind of pounded it up the middle, just smash mouth football, and we couldn't stop the run. And then Bowling Green, they had 257 passing yards, 100-something rushing yards. They were kind of doing what they wanted to. And honestly, our DBs look pretty good in man coverage, but they kept throwing it underneath, and then it was a lot of broken tackles. We're not tackling. Mm-hmm. I just feel like we need to wrap up, tackle, and we'd be cool.
Hope to see a little more from the defense.
Yeah.
But looking at the positives, at least from my perspective, this is offensively, this has been a very solid wide receiver core that we got. Alex Adams in these last two games, 150 yards, 2 TDs between the two of them. And then, you got players like Shockey and some other solid receivers. So you're giving DJ Irons a lot of targets to work with. And speaking of DJ Irons, he's been playing pretty solid. He's really been showing his versatility because he's been running the ball like he always does, but he's been passing better as well.
Definitely.
So I think, obviously we don't have any wins to celebrate yet. They won week 1, but recent wins. But this is we're allowed to have a better conversation than last episode because that was a rough one. Let's be honest. Losing by as bad as they did in those games. So they still lost these two, but they did much better than they have been doing, and hopefully they can just continue that steady improvement and get to a spot where they're picking up some wins.
Facts.
So from here we're going to move into our last commercial break before wrapping up our Zips Classic segment. Stay tuned.
You're watching ZTV. You're watching ZTV.
Welcome back. So far in the Zips Classics segment, we've looked at the 2005 football season and the 2010 soccer season. To conclude the trilogy that is Zips Classics, we're going to take it over to the 2012 and 2013 men's basketball season. As always, you can follow us on social media at ZTV Sports on Instagram and Twitter, and at ZTV Sports Report on YouTube. I'm Max Saracey.
I'm Josh Feaster.
Thank you for watching, and go Zips.
The 2011-2012 season ends with the Zips being regular season MAC champs, but in the MAC final, they lose to OU by a single point. So that is the sour note on which that season ends. But moving into 2012-2013, they've got a real solid core coming back. Senior Zeke Marshall, junior Demetrius Treadwell, Alex Abreu running the point, Nick Harney, seniors Brian Walsh and Chauncey Gilliam, and then 2 freshman shooters are being added to the team, that being Reggie McAdams and Jake Kretzer. And before you know it, they're 4-4. Everyone's probably hoping, hey, 6-2 sounds better. And then the streak starts. You don't know it after the first game or the second, but before you know it, they've racked up 19 wins in a row. And the Zips, after that 4-4 start, are plowing through the MAC. And the streak is garnering national attention. And included in that toward the end, they had a bracket buster game, which was still around back then. They, I think, easily handled North Dakota State. But prior to that, they had won at Kent, I believe. They beat OU at home, their first matchup since the MAC final the year before. Got a little bit of revenge. But that streak got to 19, so the Zips find themselves at 23-4 all of a sudden. And that was pretty special. When your hometown mid-major team that you love more than anything is grabbing national headlines. Those are important moments for the team, the city, and the fans. So that was what we thought was maybe the peak of that season at that point. So the most memorable game for me of the 19-game win streak is number 19. It's at Ohio. We've already beat them once, and now we're at their place. Probably 11,000, 12,000 fans there. And we get off to a crummy start. And I think they were down 18 at one point. Streaks on the line. Ohio wants to exact some revenge from the prior regular season loss. I think OU's up 11 at half. And then the ship quickly gets righted. And Zeke, Tree, they have monster games. They both put up double-doubles, I think. And Kretzer has one of those perfect games where he's 6 for 6 from the field, hit all 5 of his three-pointers, hit his 2 free throws, 19 points, and the Zips come roaring back, and Zeke fouls out with a minute left. But in the end, the Zips hold it together in overtime. They win 88-81. Unbelievable game on the road. Beat Ohio now twice in the regular season. And that was the real stamp on the 19-game winning streak, which was number 19. Didn't quite end the way we want, but at the end of the day, when you think 19-game win streak, they're 14-2 at the MAC. They're regular season champs, and I think at this point they are 24-5. Pretty solid rolling into the MAC tournament. Akron's had some time to adjust and figuring out what this team's going to look like without Abreu running the point. You know, he's kind of their inspirational leader, and that's an intangible that's tough to replace. The game against Kent, the fact is, we're MAC semifinals now. It's kind of a somewhat sloppy game. There's a lot of turnovers. Actually, we'll call it a defensive battle. But it's close the whole way through. Akron might have been up 3 at half, or I could be wrong about that. But it was close, wire to wire. And I think in that game, I know Tree and Zeke dominated again. I think Zeke might have had 7 blocks in that game. I think Harney was in double figures. They did what they needed, and Harney Harney ran point for most of the second half, I think to alleviate some of that pressure from freshman Betancourt of, inheriting the role of, the team's point guard when he had only probably started one game all season prior to that. And making that move might have just been the difference in a gritty battle. But I think Kent only scored 2 points in the final 4 minutes of that game. And I believe it was a layup at the buzzer. So somewhat scoreless the last 4 minutes, and that was the difference in the end. A hard-fought, gritty win, revenge victory over Kent, and on to the finals. And let's talk about OU for a minute. Last year, after their MAC championship in 2012, they scoot on into the Sweet 16. They nearly make it to the Elite Eight had it not been for an overtime loss to North Carolina. They kind of became the media's favorite darling underdog, and they were definitely preseason MAC favorites for this 2012-2013 season. And Akron had already beat them twice during the regular season. And as the cliche goes, it's always hard to beat the same team 3 times in one season, but we're going to find out if that's possible. So, heading into this game, and Akron's got the sting of last year's 1-point loss still fresh in their memories. OU probably has the upper hand out of the gate, and OU is up by 3 at halftime. And the fact is, which surprisingly after looking at the final score, the game was tied with 15 minutes to go, 15 and a half minutes to go. And then Akron just kind of moved into lockdown defense. OU got a little sloppy, and Akron was making everything, and everyone on the team was contributing. And those last 15 minutes, the Zips outscored OU by 22. Ended up winning by, I think, 19. Unbelievable game. And a nice beatdown as payback for last year. And the best exclamation point possible on a unbelievable, great season. The win streak, regular season champs, exacting revenge in the MAC championship. The season is unlike any other. Might have been one of the greatest Zips teams on the court of all time.
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. Do you want to gain experience in video production, professional social media, or working with real clients? Visit the UA School of Communications online or follow us on social media to learn more. ZTV, make media, make a difference.